The phone rang at 2 a.m., shattering the quiet of Kiana's apartment in downtown Seattle, and when she answered, her estranged father's voice croaked through the line. "Kianandra, I need your bone marrow. I'm dying of leukemia." It was the same man who 10 years ago, in a fit of rage upon learning she was gay, had shoved her down the stairs of their family home, leaving her paralyzed from the waist down. Now, as she gripped the receiver, the irony burned like acid. The father who'd destroyed her life was begging her to save his. Kiana stared at the ceiling, her mind reeling from the call. At 27, she'd built a life far from the conservative suburb of Tacoma where she'd grown up. Wheelchair-bound but fiercely independent, she worked as a graphic designer for a progressive tech firm, her days filled with creative briefs and late-night sketches. Jordan, her girlfriend of 3 years, stirred beside her in bed, mumbling. "Who was that?" Kiana hesitated, then whispered, "My dad. He needs me." The next morning, over coffee in their cozy kitchen overlooking Puget Sound, Kiana recounted the conversation. Jordan, a 28-year-old social worker with a no-nonsense demeanor honed from years helping at-risk youth, set down her mug. "Kiana, you don't owe him anything. After what he did. That wasn't an accident. It was assault." Kiana nodded, but doubt flickered in her eyes. She'd never pressed charges. Back then, her mother had pleaded with her to keep it quiet, fearing the scandal in their tight-knit church community. The family had spun it as a tragic fall, and Kiana, shattered and scared, had gone along with it. By noon, Kiana's phone buzzed with texts from her mother, Evelyn. "Please, honey, come home. Your father is sorry. We all are." Sorry. The word felt hollow. Kiana remembered the day. It happened like a scar that never faded. At 17, she'd mustered the courage to come out during a family dinner. Her father, Robert, a devout Baptist and retired military man, had exploded. "No daughter of mine will live in sin," he'd shouted, his face twisted in disgust. In the chaos, he'd grabbed her arm, yanking her toward the door, but she pulled away, and then the shove. The tumble down the wooden stairs, the crack of her spine, the numbness that followed. Rehab had been hell. Months in the hospital, learning to navigate a world from a chair. Her parents visited sporadically, her father's presence always laced with unspoken blame. "If you just prayed harder," he'd muttered once. Evelyn, torn between loyalty to her husband and love for her daughter, had chosen silence. Kiana moved out at 18, using insurance money to fund community college, vowing never to look back. But now this, leukemia, terminal without a donor. And tests showed Kiana was a perfect match, ironic, given their fractured bond. Jordan urged her to ignore it. "Think about us. We're planning a future marriage, maybe kids through adoption. Don't let them drag you back into that toxicity." Yet, as Kiana wheeled to her desk that afternoon, designing logos for a LGBTQ+ nonprofit, guilt gnawed at her. Was refusing to help the same as murder? Or was it justice? That evening, Kiana decided to drive down to Tacoma. "I need closure," she told Jordan, who reluctantly agreed to come along. The 2-hour trip felt eternal, rain slicking the interstate as they discussed contingencies. Jordan, ever the protector, said, "If he so much as raises his voice, we're out." Kiana squeezed her hand, grateful for the woman who'd shown her love could heal. Arriving at the modest ranch-style house, memories flooded back. Evelyn opened the door, her face lined with worry, hugging Kiana awkwardly over the wheelchair. Robert lay in the living room recliner, gaunt and hooked to and fore, his once imposing frame withered. "Kianandra," he rasped, eyes avoiding hers. "Thank you for coming." The conversation started civilly. Evelyn brewed tea, chattering about neighbors and church events. But tension simmered. Robert explained the diagnosis. Acute myeloid leukemia, aggressive. Chemo had failed. Transplant was his only shot. "Doctors say family matches are best," he said. Kiana listened, her hands clenched in her lap. Then the inevitable. "I know I hurt you," Robert admitted, voice cracking. "But God has a plan. Maybe this is our chance to forgive." "Forgive?" Kiana's blood boiled. "You didn't just hurt me, Dad. You paralyzed me. Because I loved a girl." Jordan placed a steadying hand on her shoulder. Robert's eyes flashed with remnants of old fire. That lifestyle, it's against everything we believe. But I've preyed on it. I see now maybe I was too harsh. Too harsh? Kiana laughed bitterly. Harsh is grounding me. You broke my spine. Evelyn interjected. Please, let's not dredge up the past. He's dying. The visit ended in stalemate. Kiana promised to think about it, but as they drove home she confided in Jordan. I can't do it. Not yet. That night dreams plagued her. Falling endlessly, her father's face looming. Was blood thicker than betrayal? Over the next week pressure mounted. Calls from extended family, aunts and uncles she'd barely spoken to in years, all echoing the same. Family first. Forgive and forget. One cousin even posted on social media a veiled plea about Christian mercy, tagging Kiana subtly. She felt exposed, the old wounds reopening in the public eye. At work, Kiana confided in her boss, Mia, a fellow lesbian who'd faced her own family rejection. Don't let them guilt you, Mia advised. Your body, your choice. But doubt crept in. What if refusing made her no better than him? Jordan noticed her withdrawal, the late nights staring at medical articles on bone marrow donation. Talk to me, Jordan urged one evening as they cooked dinner together. Kiana broke down. I hate him, but he's my dad. And Mom. She's stuck in the middle. Jordan held her, whispering, you survived without them. We can too. Their love felt like an anchor, but the storm raged on. Finally, Kiana scheduled a consultation with the transplant doctor in Seattle. Dr. Harlan, a compassionate woman in her 50s, explained the procedure. Harvesting marrow from Kiana's hip under anesthesia. Minimal risk for her but life-saving for Robert. It's your decision, Dr. Harlan said. But time is critical. Leaving the office, Kiana felt the weight. That afternoon she wheeled through a park with Jordan, the spring air crisp. If I do this, it's for me, not him. To prove I'm better. Jordan nodded, but worry etched her face. Just promise you'll protect yourself. As the sun set, Kiana made her choice. She'd test further. But deep down, she wondered if forgiveness came at too high a cost. In the days following her decision to proceed with testing, Kiana's life became a whirlwind of medical appointments and emotional turmoil. The preliminary blood work confirmed the match, and the hospital scheduled the full evaluation. Jordan accompanied her everywhere, a silent guardian against the encroaching family drama. Evelyn called daily, her voice a mix of gratitude and desperation. Your father is weakening. Please hurry. Kiana bit back retorts, focusing instead on her own health. Wheelchair users faced higher risks in procedures. Dr. Harlan warned, potential complications with anesthesia or recovery. Kiana downplayed it to Jordan, but fear lingered. Meanwhile, societal whispers amplified. A local Tacoma newspaper ran a human interest piece on Robert's battle, painting him as a heroic veteran fighting cancer. No mention of the past, of course. When a reporter reached out to Kiana for comment, she declined, but the article's comments section erupted with speculation. Why isn't his daughter helping? One anonymous user posted. Kiana read them obsessively, her self-doubt growing. Jordan, sensing the spiral, suggested therapy. You've carried this alone too long. Kiana agreed, booking sessions with Dr. Reyes, a psychologist specializing in LGBTQ+ trauma. In their first meeting, Kiana unloaded, the coming out, the shove, the isolation. I feel like donating would betray myself, she confessed. Dr. Reyes nodded. It's not betrayal to choose compassion, but it's also not required. Explore your motives. Back home, Jordan shared her own story. Disowned by her religious parents in rural Idaho for being gay. I cut ties completely. It hurt, but I healed. Their conversations deepened their bond, late nights on the couch turning intimate with shared vulnerabilities. Yet, Kiana noticed Jordan's growing unease. If you do this, will it change us? Jordan asked one night. The question hung heavy. Kiana reassured her, but internally conflict brewed. Donating meant reopening doors to a family steeped in homophobia. What if they expected more reconciliation, attendance at church events where her relationship with Jordan would be scrutinized? Then came the confrontation. Robert requested a private visit. Against Jordan's advice, Kiana went alone to Tacoma. In the dim living room he looked frail, oxygen mask fogging with each breath. "I need to say this," he began. "What I did was wrong. I was scared for your soul, for our family. But seeing you now, strong despite everything." Kiana's heart twisted. "Despite you, you mean?" He winced. "Yes. I've talked to Pastor Ellis. He says love is love in God's eyes." Was this genuine change or desperation? Kiana pressed. "Would you accept Jordan? Us together?" Robert hesitated. "It's hard. But I'm trying." She left unsettled, the drive back a blur of tears. That evening she told Jordan everything. "He's manipulating you," Jordan said sharply. "Don't fall for it." Their first real fight ensued. Jordan accusing Kiana of naivety, Kiana defending her right to hope. They slept apart, the rift palpable. Work suffered. Kiana missed deadlines, her designs lackluster. Mia pulled her aside. "Take time off. Sort this." Kiana did, using the break to volunteer at a local LGBTQ+ center, mentoring teens facing similar rejections. One girl, 16 and homeless after coming out, reminded Kiana of her younger self. "Don't let family define you," Kiana advised, the words echoing back to her. As the donation date loomed, 2 weeks away, Evelyn arrived unannounced in Seattle. Over lunch at a waterfront cafe, she pleaded. "He's sorry, truly. And I failed you too." Tears flowed as Evelyn admitted enabling Robert's bigotry out of fear. "I love you, Kiana. Both of you." For the first time she acknowledged Jordan by name. Moved, Kiana hugged her mother. But back home Jordan was furious. "She's part of the problem." The argument escalated, Jordan storming out for a walk. Alone, Kiana wheeled to the window, watching the ferries on the Sound. Was saving her father worth risking her relationship? The next day, reconciliation with Jordan came slowly, over apologies and promises. "I support you whatever you choose," Jordan said. But the strain showed. Kiana finalized the paperwork, her signature a commitment to the procedure. Yet as she lay in bed that night, a new fear emerged. What if donating didn't bring peace but more pain? The high-stakes decision crystallized when a complication arose. Robert's condition worsened, requiring immediate action. Kiana accelerated the timeline, checking into the hospital for prep. Jordan stayed by her side, holding her hand as nurses drew blood. "You're brave," Jordan whispered. In the quiet hours, Kiana reflected on the moral maze. Forgiveness versus self-preservation, family duty against personal justice. The surgery loomed, a bridge to an uncertain future. The hospital air was sterile and cold as Kiana was wheeled into the pre-op room, the beeping monitors a stark reminder of her vulnerability. At 27, facing surgery in the same city where she'd rebuilt her life, the irony wasn't lost on her. Jordan paced outside, her face a mask of worry, while Evelyn waited in the lobby, wringing her hands. Dr. Harlan reviewed the risks again. Infection, pain, fatigue, amplified by Kiana's paralysis. "You can still back out," she said kindly. Kiana shook her head. "Let's do this." As anesthesia took hold, her last thought was of Jordan's smile, a beacon in the darkness. Waking in recovery, groggy and sore, Kiana felt the incision on her hip throbbing. Jordan was there first, kissing her forehead. "You did it." "He's in surgery now." Relief washed over Kiana, mingled with exhaustion. Evelyn entered hesitantly, tears in her eyes. "Thank you, sweetheart. You've given him a chance." The next days blurred in a haze of pain meds and visits. Robert's transplant went smoothly. Early signs were positive. But gratitude came laced with tension. When Robert, still bedridden, called Kiana's room, his voice was weak but insistent. "God bless you, daughter. Come see me soon." Kiana agreed, but dread built. Discharged after a week, Kiana returned home to Seattle, Jordan fussing over her like a mother hen. Wheelchair navigation was harder with the soreness, but Jordan adapted their apartment. Ramps cleared, pillows arranged. Their love shone through the caregiving, small acts mending the earlier rift. Yet, family demands escalated. Evelyn pushed for a reunion dinner to celebrate his recovery. Kiana relented, inviting them to Seattle to avoid Tacoma's ghosts. The evening arrived, rain pattering against the windows as Robert, supported by a cane, entered with Evelyn. Dinner started awkwardly. Small talk about weather, work. Then Robert cleared his throat. Kianandra, Jordan. Thank you both. He looked at Jordan for the first time, really looked. I was wrong about everything. Jordan nodded coolly. Actions speak louder. As plates cleared, the conversation turned raw. Robert admitted his bigotry stemmed from his own upbringing. Military strictness, church dogma. I feared losing you to hellfire. But pushing you away. That was my hell. Kiana listened, tears welling. You didn't just push. You broke me. Evelyn interjected. We've started counseling at church. A progressive group. Progressive? The word surprised Kiana. Robert nodded. Pastor Ellis introduced us. They welcome everyone. Was this real change? But skepticism lingered. When dessert came, Robert asked about their future. Marriage? Kids? Jordan answered firmly. Yes, on our terms. Robert paused, then said, I'd like to be there if you'll have me. The offer hung, a tentative olive branch. Leaving, hugs were exchanged, stiff but sincere. In bed that night, Kiana confided in Jordan. It feels too easy. Jordan agreed. Watch for backslides. Weeks passed. Robert's health improved, the marrow taking hold. But societal backlash hit. A conservative relative leaked the story to a right-wing blog, framing Kiana as the forgiving lesbian daughter, saving her repentant father. Comments poured in. Praise from some, vitriol from others. She's enabling homophobia. One LGBTQ+ forum post read. Kiana felt torn, hero or traitor. At the center, her mentor questioned her. How could you help him after what he did? One teen asked. Kiana replied honestly. Forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's choosing not to let hate define me. But doubts crept in. Had she compromised her principles? Jordan noticed the toll. You're second-guessing everything. They attended couples therapy, unpacking the strain. I fear losing you to them, Jordan admitted. Kiana reassured. You're my family now. A turning point came at a family gathering in Tacoma. Robert's birthday, his first post-transplant. Relatives gathered, some warm, others wary. An uncle cornered Kiana. Glad you came around. That gay stuff, maybe it's a phase. Anger flared. Kiana wheeled away, confronting Robert privately. If this is your circle, nothing's changed. Robert sighed. I'm working on them. Give me time. But time revealed cracks. At church the next day, Kiana attended reluctantly. The sermon touched on traditional values. Robert stayed silent as congregants whispered about her and Jordan. Driving home, Kiana vented to Jordan. It's all surface. The realization hit. Donating saved his life but not their relationship. She distanced herself, calls growing sparse. Months later, at a Pride event in Seattle, Kiana spoke publicly for the first time. My father paralyzed me for being gay. I saved his life anyway. But forgiveness has limits. The crowd cheered. Jordan beamed proudly. Yet, inner peace eluded her. Robert's calls went unanswered. Evelyn's pleas ignored. Was cutting ties the right choice or another cycle of pain? As summer faded into fall, Kiana's life settled into a new rhythm. Therapy sessions twice weekly, deeper involvement at the LGBTQ+ center, and a promotion at work that affirmed her talent. Jordan proposed during a weekend getaway to the Olympic Peninsula. A simple ring exchanged under ancient cedars. Yes, Kiana whispered. Their kiss sealing a future unbound by past shadows. But the past refused to stay buried. Robert's recovery plateaued. Side effects from immunosuppressants left him frail. Evelyn's emails begged for contact. He's changed, Kiana. Come see. Tempted by curiosity, Kiana agreed to a neutral meeting. A coffee shop in Bellevue, halfway between worlds. Robert arrived alone, looking older. His military posture softened. No pressure, he said up front. Just talk. Over lattes he shared his journey. Reading books on LGBTQ+ issues. Attending PFLAG meetings. I was blind. Ignorant. Kiana probed. What about the shove? Do you regret it? He met her eyes. Every day. It was assault, not accident. I own that. Vulnerability cracked her defenses. Why now? Robert admitted. Facing death woke me. But your strength. It shamed me. They parted with a tentative hug. Kiana promising nothing. Jordan reacted cautiously. Words are cheap. Demand proof. Kiana did, inviting Robert to their engagement party. A small gathering of friends in Seattle. He came, awkward amid rainbow decorations but engaged. Complimenting Jordan's work, listening to stories without judgment. A hiccup occurred when a friend grilled him. How do you justify your past? Robert didn't deflect. I can't. But I'm atoning. Impressed, Kiana felt a spark of hope. Yet societal pressures mounted. A viral tweet about her story, anonymous but detailed, sparked debate. Is forgiving abusers empowerment or endangerment? Kiana scrolled through responses torn between camps. At work, Mia advised. Define your boundaries. Kiana did, telling Robert. Acceptance means all of me, including Jordan. He agreed, even suggesting they visit for holidays. Thanksgiving tested it. In Tacoma, the table included Jordan, a first. Relatives were polite, but an aunt's comment, such a shame about kids, stung. Robert shut it down. Their family. End of. Progress but exhausting. Post-holiday, Kiana crashed emotionally. Dr. Reyes unpacked it. You're grieving the family you wanted. Tears flowed, healing hurt. Jordan's support wavered under strain. I'm proud, but this pulls you away. Arguments flared about time spent on calls, visits. One night, Jordan snapped. Choose them or us? Kiana recoiled. It's not either or. The fight led to a brief separation. Jordan staying with a friend. Alone, Kiana wheeled through empty rooms, questioning her choices. Had donating opened a Pandora's box? Reconciliation came via therapy. We both need space to grow, Jordan said. They recommitted, planning a wedding focused on their circle. But betrayal struck. At a church event Robert invited them to, supposedly inclusive, an elder approached. Your father's proud you're reforming. Reforming? Kiana confronted Robert. Is this what you tell them? He stammered. No. I mean, I'm still learning. Devastated, Kiana cut contact again. Fool me twice, she told Jordan. Evelyn pleaded, but Kiana held firm. Change or lose me forever. Winter brought reflection. Kiana channeled pain into advocacy, writing an op-ed for a national LGBTQ+ magazine. The cost of conditional love. It resonated, drawing support and criticism alike. Robert's health declined. A rejection episode. Hospitalized, he reached out via Evelyn. Tell her I'm sorry. Truly. Kiana visited, finding him remorseful. I failed you again. She nodded. But you tried. Leaving ambiguity lingered. Forgiveness wasn't linear. It ebbed and flowed. As spring bloomed, Kiana and Jordan married in an intimate ceremony, friends cheering. Robert wasn't invited yet. In vows, Kiana promised to choose love every day. But questions haunted. Had she paid too dearly for a flawed redemption? The wedding aftermath brought a fragile peace, with Kiana and Jordan honeymooning in Hawaii, wheelchair-accessible beaches and sunset dinners mending lingering tensions. Back in Seattle, life hummed. Jordan advanced in her career. Kiana launched a freelance design business focused on inclusive branding. Robert's recovery stabilized, but distance remained. Occasional texts, neutral about health or weather, kept a thread alive. Evelyn bridged gaps, visiting solo, sharing stories of Robert's continued therapy. He's reading The Velvet Rage, she said once, referencing a book on gay shame. Kiana softened but warily. Societal echoes persisted. Kiana's op-ed sparked a podcast invite, where she debated a conservative commentator. Forgiving family abusers enables cycles, the host argued. Kiana countered. Blanket rejection ignores nuance. But boundaries are non-negotiable. The episode went viral, positioning Kiana as a voice in LGBTQ+ discourse. At the center, her influence grew. Teens sought her advice on family reconciliation. One case mirrored hers. A girl paralyzed in an accident after coming out. Mentoring her, Kiana confronted her own unresolved anger. Don't rush forgiveness, she advised. It must be earned. Jordan, supportive yet cautious, encouraged balance. Don't let this consume you. They adopted a rescue dog, a fluffy mutt named Riley, symbolizing new beginnings. Evenings walks, Kiana wheeling, Jordan leashed, fostered intimacy. A crisis erupted when Robert suffered a heart attack, complication from cancer meds. Rushed to ICU, Evelyn called. He might not make it. Kiana flew to Tacoma with Jordan, the hospital a déjà vu of beeps and sterile halls. By his bedside, Robert whispered, "I'm proud of you." Always was deep down. Tears fell. Kiana held his hand. "I forgive you for me." He smiled faintly. "Love Jordan for me." He pulled through, but the scare catalyzed change. Post-discharge, Robert volunteered at a LGBTQ+ shelter, his actions speaking volumes. He attended a pride parade, awkwardly with a rainbow pin, texting Kiana photos. Tentatively, they rebuilt. A family dinner in Seattle. No judgments, genuine questions about their life. Robert asked Jordan about her work, listening intently. Evelyn beamed, the table alive with cautious laughter. But mouth-thwan emerged. A relative's wedding invite specified traditional attire. Code for exclusion? Robert advocated. They go as they are. The event passed smoothly, a milestone. Internally, Kiana wrestled ethics. Was aiding her abuser morally defensible? Dr. Reyes posed. Did it empower or diminish you? Kiana realized both. It forced growth, but at emotional cost. Jordan voiced concerns. If he slips again? Kiana nodded. Then we're done. Their marriage strengthened through trials, communication key. As years ticked, anniversaries, milestones, Kiana reflected on the journey. From paralysis to advocacy, betrayal to tentative bonds. Society evolved too. Laws protected more, attitudes shifted, yet prejudices lingered. In quiet moments, Kiana wondered. The shove, the donation, the forgiveness. A chain of choices with profound prices. The story culminates in a family reunion years later, where old wounds scar but don't define. Robert, in remission, toasts Kiana and Jordan's adoption announcement. Laughter fills the room, but undercurrents remain. Yet, the core question persists. In the face of familial betrayal rooted in prejudice, is forgiveness a strength or a surrender?